Okay, sounds good. Which episode are we on?
Buck 24, I think. Yeah.
20. 20. Oh my god, have we really been going that long?
Yeah, apparently. Somehow.
Christ. I'm just gonna have the Heroes tab open up. Alright, you want to do the intro or will I?
Are you gonna give me your camera?
Oh yeah, shit.
Okay.
Does it work if I have two cameras?
No, it shouldn't. They'll just give it to
okay.
one. So maybe don't stream it on yours then. I don't know.
While streaming, I'll just take my camera off.
Okay.
How do I remove? Does that work?
I think
I have to leave the call.
Yeah, I think you also have to just like... Okay, there you go.
There I am. How do I look? Disgusting?
No worse than usual.
So, just repugnant. Absolutely repugnant.
Yeah, that's
gotcha.
saying something considering that you just moved halfway across the world.
It's true. It's true. God, my back hurts. Holy shit. It's been in such pain. The flights like destroyed me for some reason.
Fuck flying.
The flights and the bus back. I'm going to the doctor in like 5 days though, thank God. It's gotten bad, dude. It's like I'm actually really worried about my back. It really fucking hurts all the time.
Where? Low back or upper?
Lower back, yeah.
You probably sit too much.
I do stretches. Like I've taken like fucking Percocets, you know? I've taken like the hardest drugs you can take to deal with pain, and it does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. I've taken horse muscle relaxant, and it doesn't fix anything.
That's not good.
Yeah, it's really bad, actually. Anyway, we can begin.
All right, you're gonna have to get the questions.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so welcome to Alchemy Answers episode 24. That's right, 24 freaking episodes of this show where you guys look at our faces and listen to us talk about Dota or life or sometimes random other things because, you know, that's sort of what the show devolves into at times. But that's why you watch, because both of us are, I guess, interesting to listen to. I don't know.
I don't know about that, dude. It's going a little far. I'm going to be honest with you.
Anyway,
okay.
So we have some good questions from our patrons, and then we'll take some from chat at the end.
We do. We have RFX. Question: is pulling a great idea if your carry is ranged and weak like a drow? Is it better to just not pull? Also, just want to add that I've subbed to your Patreon as your content is really helpful. I've improved a lot from it. Hey, thank you.
That's not actually from RFX, it's from somebody else.
Yeah, that's from A5M. So question, is pulling a great idea if your carry is weak and ranged like a drow? That depends on how much regen they have and like what the state is in the lane for you. I think drow is an example where she is not good at killing people or applying any pressure whatsoever. So in general, pulling in that scenario is going to be probably pretty good because you just want to kind of farm in the lane, and then you have a power spike later on into the game. So pulling is fine. I would say that like you wouldn't want to pull like if you can actually sit there and kill them or apply pressure in the lane. But Drow's not a hero that does that. So I think yeah, you can do that, but so long as she has enough regen. If she's sitting there and farming, and the reason that you do that with the Drow is because you'll just get more from pulling. You'll farm, she'll still farm, she'll use her regen to farm. But if she doesn't have regen, then her farm is priority, so you just let her farm. You don't pull, and unfortunately, you're sacrificing your own farm as a support, but that's fine. And then if you have like, you also wouldn't want to do that if you have a like a jug or something like that. Because if the lane is just towards your base, like or towards your tower, you can just sit there and deny. And if the enemies come up, you just kill them. So yeah, it really depends on the regen and like what you want to do in the lane, whether you want to push or pull it.
Yeah, I think there's a couple other considerations also. Like if they have very strong diving heroes, let's say it's like an Undying Doom lane or something like that, and you have a Drow, then pulling is not good because you're just going to get completely obliterated. Like they're just going to run under your tower and kill you over and over. And I think in that scenario, I guess I should clarify. In that scenario, you don't want to pull the lane like when it's close to the tower just to get farm. You might want to do what Jenkins made a video about like a month ago, which is where you pull you single pull and then you just like double wave them so that they have to tank 2 waves of creeps if they want to actually dive you under tower and harass you. So
Yeah,
I think that's. I mean, again, I guess you're still pulling, but like if it's a scenario where the lane is pretty close to the tower, and pulling it would put it under tower, then you probably don't want to do that against a dive heavy lane. But other than that, you could probably single pull and push the wave into them so that they can't dive you.
I think in general these days, pulling is almost always acceptable. For just because like the farm in the jungle, you get a lot more. If you have a kill lane, you can force them to be right in front of your tower or contest a pull where you can kill them. Like there's a lot of things that you can do by pulling that isn't just getting the experience in the jungle. It accomplishes a lot. You can push the lane, you can pull the lane back. Like in general, 90% of the time, the choice for a support is to actually just go and pull.
And that's why something like Pudge kind of works, even though he's complete ass at harassing in lane. Like, you can just pull until you have level 3, and then you can actually do stuff.
Right, exactly. Like, there's a lot of, like, off-meta... Well, like, in the old days, like, you wouldn't run, like, a Brew support, Beastmaster support, or something like that, but we've seen a lot of that because you can just do the regular supporting things, which is just pulling and bullying somebody out of lane. Like, there's not much else to find supporting other than that. Not that that's easy to do by any means, but that's basically it. Just doing that in like different ways.
Yep.
My Dota's like glitching and I can't close it right now, so I need to Control Delete. All right, let me find another question because we've hammered that one into the ground.
Yeah, your camera's also cutting out, and then you're turning blue, and then coming back.
That's not good. I got a new setup here. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so It's Greek Pete says, do we throw questions here? Yes. All right, so we answered one of your questions, Greek Pete, so I'm not going to answer the next one that you asked. I'm just kidding. It's Greek Pete says, when you're losing a lane as a safe lane carry, when do you ditch the lane in favor of hitting neutrals? Likewise, if you're in a winning lane but can't take the tower, do you just stay in the lane? Until eventually you do, since lane creeps give more XP and gold than jungle creeps. I'm not sure what the calculations are, but I'm pretty sure lane creeps don't give you that much more XP than and gold than jungle creeps, because jungle creeps have been buffed and lane creeps have been like relatively nerfed. And that's why I think in general, if you this is very similar to like the pulling thing, where if you're winning or losing, it's probably good to do for some reason. And I think jungling as a carry is probably good to do for some reason. So for example, if you're winning a lane heavily and you can't get the tower, what you can do is you can push out the lane and then you can go jungle, push out the lane and then go jungle. And then that way you're getting double the amount of farm. Alternatively, you can give a support the lane and then you can go jungle, especially if you can jungle very quickly and get between the camps really quickly. So that way, like a support is getting the farm in the lane, and then you're getting the farm in the jungle. So you're getting, once again, double the amount of farm. And then also, like if you're losing a lane, I'm not sure what the last example I just used was, winning or losing, but if you're losing or winning a lane, you can honestly go jungle, and a support can take the lane. If you're winning the lane, you'd love to leave a support there that can pressure. If you're losing the lane, you can just leave any support there. That's really all that matters. But yeah, in terms of jungling, basically, you just want to do it when it's going to result in the more farm than you're currently getting, and not take off any pressure from the enemy team. That's the ideal situation. Like, and that's why when you're losing a lane, you have a support take the lane. If you're losing that lane, you're applying no pressure, so you jungling is almost always a good idea, because in general, if you're losing the lane, you being there doesn't differ from a support being there.
Yep. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that you see is people just like trying to outlane an impossible lane as a carry. They're just like they're a Slark and they're against like some, like, I don't know, a Baden Tusk or like Doom Tusk or something like that, or an Ursa, and they're just like, they think that they can somehow out-trade or outplay the lane, but it's just not possible because it's just so difficult. And that's why, I mean, it's hard with a hero like a Slark because you don't really want to jungle until you're like level 6, but sometimes you just kind of have to buy some extra tangos and a Quelling Blade and just like farm the small camps, farm the medium camps until you're high enough level to actually kill hard camps and stuff like that. And then, like Jenkins was saying, in that scenario, if you're having a hard time even approaching the creep wave and you can get, you know, even 3/4 of a creep wave in the jungle for every wave that you be getting denied in the lane, then that's more than worth it. And your support's
Yeah.
just getting levels for free. Like, he normally wouldn't be getting levels, but he's getting solo experience there, so.
Yep. It's just like a calculation of all the heroes on your team and their team, and like where can you arrange the lanes such that you're just getting more from them. And I know that's obviously a very generalized statement, but I think Dota in the last couple of years has become a lot more about that rather than like picking specific heroes and combos. It's just kind of like laning combos, I should say. You kind of just like pick whatever's good for the game and you just lane wherever. You literally just lane somebody. People run like Enigma mid. You just run whatever heroes and whatever lane and send somebody to jungle. Like we saw in Team Liquid versus, I don't remember who they were playing, but it was the ESL finals. They ran Viper mid, and then they had a Chen take mid, and Viper went at level 3, went to the jungle. At level 3, he was winning the lane, and he went to the jungle. Like, that is insane. You know, he could just sit there and apply pressure, but that's the thing, is he could just farm so quickly that they just deduced, mathematically, this is just going to give us the most farm. We'll make stacks for him, Chen will get farm mid, and then this Viper will just get huge, and he did, and they were right. So it's like, it doesn't matter as where you're laning, if you're a support, if you're a core, you can go jungle, you can go tri-lane at a certain point. Like, there's no roaming in this meta. Well, there's no, like, strict roaming games in this meta. It's always, like, roam, then tri-lane, then dual lane, then roam, or tri-lane, then roam. Like, it's gotten very complicated in terms of where you put people in the lane, but it's gotten also kind of less complicated just because you don't have to think about heroes as much. It's more so like, oh, just where's the best place for me right now? That's it. Like, you don't really need to think about who do I need to combo with, or anything like that, or I'm a support, so I have to go be doing this pulling. It's like, no, I'm just gonna go wherever's good. It's like as simple as that. So it's like it's simplified and like complicated at the same time, kind of.
Yeah, I think it's overly complicated for pubs because everybody's very stuck in the role meta.
That's true. That's true.
So it's like actually pretty fucked to play pubs right now, just because what you see in the professional scene is completely not reflected in the pub scene, and it's going to be a very slow process for people to kind of realize that, like, oh, even though I'm technically the carry, like in this game, I need to be playing as an offlaner, and my support needs to be getting the farm or something like
people
that.
People will not do that.
Yeah,
people
exactly.
Will not, yeah. I've definitely tried that, where I have a game where it's like, all right, dude, we have a Bat Rider and there's a Slark on the enemy team. And then in the other lane, there's a Timber Saw. And on our team, we have like, I don't know, a Centaur or something. So it's like, all right, let's lane the Bat Rider versus the Timber Saw. And then the Centaur into like the other lane where like both lanes will win. And you just try to tell that guy like, all right, dude, let's swap these lanes. We'll both get more farm. We will win 3 lanes out of 3. And they do not fucking do it.
Yep.
They will not do it because it's like, no, I'm the carry. I go to the safe lane. It's like, dude, you're laning against a Timber Saw. I don't know if you like that. I would destroy a Timber Saw. You would destroy whatever hero I said that I don't remember. It's just like, it depends on the game. It really it does depend on the game. But
that's
in general,
crazy as shit, man. You're literally just like, people will actively make the game like infinitely harder for themselves just because it doesn't fit with their like archetype of how Dota is supposed to be played.
I hate that, man. I hate that. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating getting in those games because it's like, all right, dude, we'll just lose both lanes and I'll let it happen because I don't want to argue with you, but I'm not happy doing this.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's not fun when you could win 3 lanes and you just lose 3 lanes. Well, 2 lanes.
Yeah,
because somebody refused to go.
It's like you're taking your win percentage from an 80% win percentage to like a 15% win percentage, and like you're actively choosing to play with a 15% chance to win, even though you could technically win the game 80% of the time, and you're just like,
right.
God, do I really want to put myself through this for the next 50 minutes trying as hard as possible to win that 15% of the time? You know, that's Dota. I just
have a good time in those games. I just laugh and fuck around, have a good time. That's what I try to do. Pick Pudge. That's a great hero for that. It's like, all right, dude, you don't want to swap lanes? I'm just going Pudge. I'm just going to throw miss hooks all game. That's the play here for sure. Okay, so we got Hockey Lunar, a.k.a. Kuroki, asking, what times is it beneficial to single pull to send double waves in the first 10 minutes? Definitely when there's a siege wave coming and you are the lane that's winning, you can send a double wave to push the to push the wave. If you want to just dive them at any point, if you have like, I don't know, let's say Crystal Maiden Juggernaut and you have a 2-level advantage on them, or even a 1-level advantage, and you know you can dive, you can just single pull and then use that to kill them, to be aggressive. Like anytime you want to be aggressive, you can single pull and send the wave into them. Anytime you want to be defensive, that's when you want to pull through, or you want to stack the camp and then pull, generally.
Yeah, Ursa's a great hero to double wave with, and to be honest, Mars is going to be a really good hero to double wave with. You could probably even do it in the off lane where you side pull, but then you just kill the camp. Or tank the camp for the most part, and like keep your creeps alive, and then you could double wave the safe lane that way and dive them. But you can also do it in the safe lane.
Like the most general situation to double wave in the past, like since Dota's been around, is basically to push. Like if you want to push the tower, that's when you want to just single wave or single pull and then double wave, because it just makes the tower just melts.
Yeah.
Or if you're in a very difficult situation where you're getting no farm, then you can just single, like if they're applying a lot of pressure to you, you can take that pressure off by single pulling and then sending a double wave into them, because nobody's going to kill you when there's a double wave on you. It's too hard to fight into a double wave in the early levels, although we kind of touched on that in the first question, so maybe we can just go to the next one. Okay, so question, Turtle88 says, as a mid laner, I usually find it hard to identify how and when to pressure a tower when I'm winning my lane. Like whether I should dive the enemy if they try to pull the creeps off the tower, and I also guess getting ganked is an issue. Not sure when it's more worth it to push in jungle, static denier to try to chip tower, considering siege waves and stuff. Also, mainly, if you can release to playing as SF, if you have any advice on that. Okay, so I would say generally in this meta, and especially as SF, you honestly want to just push the wave and let the creeps do the tower pushing. Like, in general, the notion of pushing has been boiled down in the past couple of, probably the last like 1 to 2 years, it's been boiled down to the creeps are doing, like, you push a tower to put the creeps on their tower, and it's not necessarily to get the tower if you're not, like, with your team. If you see the enemies on the map and you know they're not ganking you, you can push. But if you don't see the enemy, and you can chip the tower, but if you don't see the enemies, then you should just go jungle and let the creeps do the work for you. Because if the creeps are in the tower, they're already doing the job. They're already pushing it, forces somebody back. If you're there, it'll force somebody there. Either way, you're forcing somebody there. It's just if you go jungle, you're not going to die when they come, and you're going to get more farm. So in general, I would say, like, you almost always want to push and then jungle, unless you see that the person that's laning against you, maybe plus their supports, are showing somewhere there's nobody that can kill you. But in general, you should value your own life and your own farm over chipping the tower, because if you gain an advantage and they're just leaving the lane, at a certain point, your team can come in, you can take the tower much easier. Like, it's very rare to see a tower solo die mid these days. It's almost always with like a rotation from supports or something like that at the 5-minute mark. Also, that's a good time to push. Like, if you want to, chip the tower with the siege creep, that's different. That's almost always a good time to push. You can even if you die, you can make a lot of space on that timing. So that's a good timing. But other than that, I would say just go jungle.
Yeah, I'd say that the only other thing to add to that would be, if you're a hero that's really good at hitting towers, then chipping towers is a lot more acceptable, like a Pugna, Clinks, Dragon Knight, something like that, where your whole purpose is really to chip the tower, and you don't really have to risk a whole lot to do it because you do it so quickly and so easily.
Yeah, it's like super non-committal, and if they do try to kill you, then it's like just such a hard time for them that they'd have to commit a lot. But to kill an SF, not only is it worth it, it's really easy. So it's not some hero you would want to push with, I would say.
Yeah, they just roll in with an Earth Spirit and then you're just dead, like basically 100% of the time.
That's all it really takes. It's just one person, one extra person being there. That's why if you don't see everybody, you should be like super careful about it.
Yep.
Or effects. Oh, okay. Justin Ash says, I'm a position 5 player. Laning can get hard where the enemy team can harass me, and my carry pretty hard, and I can't pull because I'm always getting contest. I don't want to roam because it will cause my carry to get picked off by the enemy team. What should I do in these scenario? And gotta say thanks to Donnie with that Bane replay review. Been spamming that guy and have been in a Bane winning streak. Dude, that hero's broken. Bane is nuts right now. I'm positive Bane is nuts. Okay, so you're basically saying laning is hard. You don't feel like you can pull because they're contesting. You don't want to roam. So you're basically saying you feel like your only option is to just sit and do nothing and just sit on the wave, which I disagree with to some degree. Just because I think like the distance that they need to go to get to the pull and the distance that you need to go to get to the pull as a position 5 makes it, and the impact that a position 4 should have, generally makes it not worth it for them to constantly just chase you around. Like if you're getting chased around trying to pull, then keep doing that. Keep trying to pull, because that means it's a 1v1 for your carry. And if you're getting destroyed in a 2v2, it's different when your carry's 1v1ing the offlane, or your carry can actually get farm and not have kill threat be there. So I would say keep trying to pull when they're contesting you. Keep doing it. Laugh at their faces for wasting their time on a position 5 whose only job it is to ensure that your carry is not dying, because your carry will not die if you are pulling and they're chasing around, especially if they have multiple heroes. Even if you have to die doing it, go for it. That's fine. You just always want to be doing something. Just standing there in the lane is almost never good unless you're the one that's pressuring them. Like standing in the lane and having them win the lane anyway is the worst thing that can happen in Dota for the most part.
I agree. I mean, even if you're something like a Warlock, I was going to say, like, if you're a Warlock and you just max your Shadow Word and sustain your carry who's going to win the late game, it's okay to be there. But at the same time, even then, you should just be putting your Shadow Word on, or whatever your heal is, if you're something else, on your carry. And then, like Jenkins said, like, if you can just occupy their time, even if you can take, like, half the right clicks that would normally go to your carry, like, you're giving your carry, like, twice as much effective HP just by doing that. And you have to kind of think of things in a long term, like a long con style, where if I can just eat harass from my carry and use my regen to sustain him by it being directed at me until he hits his power spike at level 6 or at level 5 or level 7 or whatever it is, then you've done your job.
Yeah.
And even if he dies a couple of times in lane, like, if you are actively doing your job, that's the best that you can do as a support.
Yep.
As any player, to be honest, if you're doing your job.
After that point, there's like no blame that's on you, so you don't need to feel any stress. You're doing the best you can do with the cards that you're dealt. And if you're given shitty cards, you're given shitty cards. There's no sense like complaining about it. That's just stoicism again, every goddamn time. Okay. A5M says, question, does that mean jungling is sort of back now, seeing as roaming is also back? Yes, absolutely. Jungling is definitely back to some degree. It's different from the jungling before. Like, people are running Enigma, where they will deny creeps in a lane, and then they'll go jungle. They'll run Enchantress, where they will like pseudo jungle and then go roam. But it's always like a half jungling, half laning sort of play style.
It's like a roamer jungler, basically.
Yeah, roamer jungler. Then there's also situations where like carries will go jungle, mids will go jungle, but it's always when a support will take a lane, and it's for a purpose. It's not just like somebody literally sits in the jungle for 10 minutes and then comes out. You know, that doesn't really happen.
And another thing that's really important to note is they're not making the decision to jungle at the beginning of the game unless it looks like they won't just lose the game by doing that. You know, like the classic example is the Legion Commander jungle, who you're like, hey, we need a support. Can you pick a support? And the person last picked Legion Commander jungle. They buy Quelling Blade, Stout Shield, and like 2 tangos, and they just go sit in the jungle for 15 minutes. Like, that automatically loses you the game most of the time, because they're just like, you don't have a hero, basically. You're playing 4v5. And that's the important thing, is that you can go to the jungle, but it's with the intention of not being a 4v5. So you still have a TP in your inventory. You're looking around the map. You're looking for opportunities to reinforce a lane. And you're not just like going to jungle and abandoning one of your lanes to lose if you could be there and win the lane with your presence. That's the biggest thing, is like, if you could be in a lane and win that lane with your presence and you go to jungle,
you should be there.
you're making a huge mistake. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like it goes back to like you just want to run a calculation on like what's going to give your team the most effective farm at that point in the game, and if it's jungling, then you go jungle. But most of the time, it's a better choice for most heroes, unless it's a niche jungling hero like Enigma or Enchantress, to just lane somewhere. Most of the time, laning and killing people is going to be better. Okay.
Yeah, I could imagine like maybe a scenario where you have, I know it's not meta, but let's say like a Broodmother off lane and you have like a Huskar mid or something like that, and then your safe lane just has a regular support. Then I can see jungling being sort of like okay, because you have two heroes who absolutely should not lose their lanes and then one normal lane. And then you could like, you know, just be another core essentially by getting farm.
Yep.
And you don't want to be in the Huskar or the Brood's lane, because if you are there, you're probably hurting their game.
Yeah, exactly. It's like going to get you more.
Yeah.
Overall. Okay, so I have the Huckillionaire says, I have the same question as Justin Ash, but against a tri-lane. We have no way to harass or pull camps since there are 3 stopping pulls and harassing both put of the lane. What is the best thing to do? Just leave both and go to another lane, or go stat camps for carry in jungle.
Tell your carry to TP to the off lane and your off laner to TP to the tri lane.
That's a good play. Yeah, that'll work.
Or
hell, man, if you're playing with maybe.
Yeah, or if you're playing with a stack, you could, and you have, you know, a good idea of how you want the game to go. Let's say you have a void carry, and you're getting tri lane and you can't get any farm and you can't pull and you can't do anything. You could just tell your void player, hey, guess what? You're playing off lane void this game, even though you're supposed to be our carry player. We're going to go help our offlaner and mid win their lanes.
Yeah, you can leave. You can just leave 2 supports there or 1 support there. Have your carry go jungle. That's possible. But like in general, if you're just not winning a lane, you'll watch in competitive. There will be situations where the only situation in which people will stay in a losing lane, unless they just lose the game like 5 minutes later, is when they're waiting for a specific power spike before rotating lanes. So for example, let's say you've like a Puck mid. At a certain point, Puck can go to that tri lane and just obliterate the lane and then sit there afterwards. And then it breaks the whole game when you have the carry going mid and getting farm, or like a support and then carry going jungle. It breaks the whole game if you can hit that power spike really hard. So if you have an idea of like, all right, we'll just sit here and we'll kind of lose this lane, or carry will try to farm, we'll try not to die, we'll try to do a little bit of harassing, and then you're doing that for the purpose of like keeping that tri lane up there, that enemy tri lane there, for when like your Puck or your Queen of Pain gets some levels. That is a good play. You can definitely do that, but in general, you don't want to just lose the lane. You'd be better off just having your safe laner play as an off laner, go stat camps, go roam as 2 supports, force, like you can roam to the mid lane, for example, with the smoke, force the supports to go mid while your carry just sits in the tower, and then when the supports leave top, then your carry gets farmed. So it's like force the enemy team around the map so that they're not just sitting up there beating you. Like what we would say on Leviathan was like, okay, this game sucks, we need to throw in some chaos, and we would just go do something stupid. We'd just go fight them behind their tier 2 for some fucking odd, completely no reason. We would just go do it. And then it would break the game. They would not have their strategy just unfolding. We would not be playing into their hand. And it would always go a lot better. Like, worst case scenario, if things aren't going well for you, throw some fucking chaos into the mix and see what happens. It will almost always be better.
Yeah, and also, speaking of the lane swap thing, it's a little bit dangerous sometimes to do that, because sometimes you'll have, let's say, like an Ursa off lane who's just crushing their safe lane, and then you have a mid like a Puck who's also winning their mid lane, and then you have this losing lane that's being tri-laned against, and you're like, well, okay, we need to get our carry some farm, but if you were to switch your tri-lane to their safe lane, then there might be a pretty good chance that your carry can't actually lane against their carry, because their carry has been getting solo experience. And then if you bring like the Ursa who's been obliterating their carry to the tri-lane, suddenly they could actually go down because there's a bunch of other heroes who can, you know, kite and harass and stun the Ursa. And then your carry just goes and gives their carry free farm because there's a much weaker hero in the lane now. So you have to just be a little careful about when you do that. And I think that what Jenkins was saying about having the power spike of one of your other heroes being the catalyst for making the move is a lot better, because if you can have the puck come to the tri lane, kill everybody, and then your carry goes to the mid lane and gets farm after the puck has already cleared out the tri lane, that's a lot better.
Yeah. In any case, like, you just need to have a plan for when things are going to change. If you don't, then you just need to be just chaotic. Just do anything else. Like, if you're playing into the enemy team's game, then you're probably going to lose Dota. That just happens to be how it is. I don't know. Some philosophical reason. It's like having the tempo in chess. If you're playing to the enemy team's tempo and doing what they want to do, you're just going to lose more than you win.
Yep.
Okay. Artifacts, I swear to God, if you ask me about Kegels one more time, it's always Kegels with this guy, man. Oh, you're depressed? Have you tried Kegels? Oh, you've trouble with ejaculation? Have you tried Kegels? Oh, you have back issues? Have you tried Kegels? Everything is Kegels to this guy. Anyway, question. How to play the map when you pick a high priority hero, position 1, like anti-mage, and then you have 3 enemy cores counter you, where at some point, all 3 of them have solo kill potential on you, and your team doesn't 4-man, so they can occupy all 3 lanes with one of those heroes.
Sounds pretty rough.
That's a complicated question. Yeah, that's rough. What do you do in that scenario? Probably mute your entire team and just farm jungle.
Yeah, literally. That is probably the way to go. Is you basically mute your whole team, you buy yourself like 2 wards and 2 sentries, and then you go and you like stake out a little claim in a corner of the jungle, and you sit there until you're strong enough to fight. Otherwise, you just don't do anything. Like, you never show up to fights, you never show on the lanes unless you absolutely have to, and you pretty much just like do your best to not feed and provide yourself with vision to like be able to do that.
Cut waves, man. I don't know. Cut waves. Just be chaos incarnate. Just go behind their towers, force them into their own base by just running in there if you have to. Like, I guarantee you in pubs, people will follow you into their own base, even though it is terrible. It is terrible to chase some guy around who's just cutting waves and stuff. Even if you kill them, it's not good, because, like you said, what do you do if there are 3 people occupying 3 lanes, your team's not doing anything about it? You get them all to chase you like morons. That's what you do, because they will, and then they won't be occupying those 3 lanes because they'll be so obsessed with you. It's like dangling a carrot on a stick. They will go for it. People in Dota are legitimately like obsessed with kills.
Yeah.
They will absolutely go for it.
Yeah. They think they're playing Apex Legends, which is what I'm probably going to do tonight.
I hear that game's pretty good.
It's so fun.
I can't get addicted to it, man. It's like auto chess.
Except it's actually fun.
What do you mean? What's wrong with you, man? Well, haven't you heard? Everybody's playing auto chess now.
Auto chess supposed to be the best game ever?
It is, dude. Hearthstone players are playing auto chess.
Because I heard that Artifact was better than auto chess, but I guess I'm probably the only person that has that opinion.
Oh my god. Did people play that still?
Artifact? Yeah, I cast it on Sunday.
I hope they release an update for it soon, man.
Yeah.
We gotta do something soon. I don't know. That's a weird situation happening over there with Artifact. I guess it's totally irrelevant, so we won't go into it. But we're out of questions on our Discord, so we could start taking some questions from chat if you want.
Let's do like a speed round from chat. Let's try and keep these episodes to like half an hour or so. I feel like we've been going like an hour with these recently, and they used to be like 25 minutes to half an hour. So
yeah, they definitely did.
Let's just do like a speed round or something like that, and then we'll call it.
Okay, let's do it. Let me open up the chat.
Okay, so first one from Mr. Brightside. I'm learning to play Meepo and Brood. I was wondering if there are any goals you would recommend for practicing on micro-intensive or very easily countered heroes that you can't just spam in all pick. Dude, just spam them in all pick. Like, play unranked and spam them in all pick. Or play them in ranked and just accept you're going to lose MMR. Like, if you learn to play against counters, you're going to be way better at the hero than if you just last pick it every time.
What I did when I was playing pro and I was trying to learn stuff like that is I would go into practice mode. I would go into like create a lobby, create like an actual Dota match, and I would just kill creep camps by like blinking between them and casting combos and stuff like that. Like, just try to clear all the creeps in the map in like a minute with WTF mode on maybe, and just try to blink across and kill everything. and just keep doing it. Just make it like a little mini game for yourself, and you can practice a lot of your micro that way. That goes also for just like any little mechanical intricacies like Sand King Epi Burrow combo. You can do that as well, and it'll just get the muscle memory down if that's what you're worried about. But in terms of how to play against counters and stuff like that, yeah, you're gonna have to pub it.
How do I become best friends with BSJ? Play auto chess, I guess.
Give him money. Pay him money for coaching.
That might also work. How do I know what role is best for me? We've actually made a couple of videos on this, but I don't know. It's kind of a complicated question.
We should actually make a video on like personality types for each role. We should legit do that. Yeah, that's actually a legit video.
What does your personality say about your role in Dota or something like that?
Dude, that's good shit.
Yeah, we might have to make that pretty soon.
We should do that. Yeah, that's good stuff.
But to be honest, like, just pay attention to what you like doing in games. Do you like fighting? Do you like farming? Do you like tempo controlling? Do you like helping your team play better? That is, a very basic outline for the different roles.
Yep. Best offliners for solo queue and 3K MMR. Mars. Yeah, there you go. Ursa.
Yep.
Pub stomping heroes, basically. Mars, Ursa, Lycan. Yeah, that's about all you need to know. You're good.
Yep. How do I encourage more communication with my team? Keep your communication very centered on the game and to the point. Like, let's smoke here. I have a smoke. Or I have black hole in 10 seconds. Can we smoke up and take a fight? Or I'm defending this tower. Can we get 2 more people here? And like that's all you should do. Basically.
I need to take that advice. That's what people don't like when you're too wordy.
Yeah, and when you're trying to like micromanage too many things, even if you're right about all of them, but if you're like, hey, you should go this item and you need to be here and I need a clarity and blah 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 and blah. Like if you try to do 3 or 4 things at the same time, it's never gonna work. Yeah,
it doesn't work. Yeah, unfortunately, as much as you'd like to have control in games, you can't have that level of control. So it's important to keep it concise. Okay, hi Jenkins Elevated. I have a question for you. Let's say I'm running a gank heavy lineup with decently 5 to 10k. We've taken all the tier 1, tier 2 towers, but it's hard to fight Roche. This is so specific because they have a stronger team fight. How do you win these games without throwing and try to go high ground? Choke them out. Just like put wards up around their base and kill them if they come out. And then when they do come out, kill them. And then you take high ground. So many people try to go high ground and then they just die and then the enemy team wins. And it's like, you don't just have to go high ground. Like if you're winning and the enemy team's not farming as much as you, you'll just win even more. Then eventually they're going to get bored and die.
Yeah. Actually, I want to expand on that question because this is something that I've seen a lot in my own games, and I think it's just a problem in pubs in general because people get antsy to win the pub and get on the next one, where it's like, let's say you have Aegis. This is the biggest thing. Let's say you have Aegis, but to get Aegis, you lost a hero. So you only have 4 heroes that are now pushing high ground. And maybe one of those heroes is actually at Shrine healing or split pushing another lane because it was really close to your base. So you actually only have 3 heroes going high ground, but you have Aegis. And you get to their high ground, and then all of their heroes buy back. So now it's a 5-on-3. But you have Aegis, and they use their buybacks. Should you go for that fight? Absolutely fucking not. You should basically never take that fight, in my opinion, because you're taking a 3-on-5 fight into their base. Like, those numbers are bad.
Those are not good numbers.
Those are really bad numbers. And if you actually think about the situation, all you have to do is now wait for, probably like 45 seconds. Your dead hero respawns. Your hero that's split pushing is now with your team. Suddenly you have a 5-on-5 fight with Aegis, and you have buybacks and they don't. That sounds a lot better to me.
That sounds a lot better.
So exercise patience and actually pick the spot and like utilize your advantage. If you have Aegis but somebody is dead, just wait for them to respawn until you can push with an actual 6 heroes instead of like hoping to push with, quote unquote 5, but it's actually 4 heroes. Well, where one of them is going to respawn.
Yeah, waiting on the next Roche is like always an option because there's always a Roche. It never stops spawning.
Yeah.
Just gets better and better, too. You get a refresher about a certain...
Okay. Any more questions we should take? Actually, this is really interesting. Fuzzy Dice says... Uh-oh, Jenkins is frozen. That's a good pose to freeze it. Somebody screenshot that and tweet it to him. Oh my god. That is beautiful. Whew.
That's what?
That was a good frozen face you have.
Did my internet like cut out or something?
Like a perfect face for you to freeze on.
Oh, my stream stopped too. Oh,
that was a good one.
That's not good stuff. That's not good stuff at all. I've seen good stuff, and that's not it.
Okay.
Why can I hear you, but Dota's not good for me, and stream's not working? It doesn't matter.
I don't know. Okay, so there's 2 more questions that I want to answer. 1, when should I know to just give up on a hero? I've been trying to get better with safe lane carry, but 13 games into grinding, I'm very bored and often do poorly. Am I just not meant for this role?
Maybe not. Try another one.
Yeah, dude, if you're getting bored, just do something that's fun.
There's a lot of fun stuff in Dota. Have you tried roaming? I'm telling you, you don't have to lane anywhere, no obligations anywhere. It's
you don't
like
even have to hit creeps, you can just run around killing people.
It's like you could be like a 40-year-old dude in like his midlife crisis when he's like single and or just divorced or something, and just goes and does whatever the fuck he wants. Goes to Hawaii, gets drunk, fucks like 5 strippers, like whatever you like. As a roamer, you have no obligations whatsoever, and you can have fun with that. You know, you can jungle, you can roam at a lane, you can just fuck with one guy. There's so many things that you can do. The options are limitless. Whereas a carry, it's like, yeah, you have this obligation to hit creeps. It's like, you know, paying alimony. It's just awful. I don't know why I'm talking about all this divorce stuff all of a sudden. Anyway, yeah, try another role, I would say.
All right, and the final question of this week's Alchemy Answers is, I've got 6,500 hours of Dota, stuck at 3,000 MMR. Should I stop playing Dota?
What's the MMR? 3,500?
3,000.
No, I don't think that's too unreasonable. Like, that's about average.
I mean, here's the question. Like, do you enjoy playing the game?
Yeah.
You know, like, who actually cares what your MMR is if you're just playing the game and you're having fun? Unless you have some ulterior motive, or you're like me, who has self-esteem issues tied to my MMR. Like, then you shouldn't really care what your rating is.
At least you don't have honesty issues. You're honest about it.
You know, like,
so am I, dude.
The thing is, like, if 6,500 hours of MMR or 6,000 hours of Dota.
It's like big number must be MMR.
Yeah, if 6,500 hours is still fun for you playing at that level, then continue to play.
For it. Yeah, sure, go for it. If you're actively looking to like practice and improve, and you've spent 6,500 hours like practicing, and you're staying at 3,000 MMR, that's different. But if you're just kind of playing for fun and just doing it, like, for instance, you know, I play Smash Brothers for fun, and I'm sure over the past 2 weeks I have not gotten any better at it. But it's because I'm like not trying to get better. I'm just trying to have fun. I'm sure I've gotten a little bit better, but there's a difference between like practicing something and researching and trying to get better and just doing something for fun. You know, it's like there's a plateau. There's a point where you'll get better when you like learn something, like it goes up like this, and then you'll plateau, and then you learn something else, and it goes up, and then you learn something else, and it goes up. But every time, the flat line lasts longer and longer, and you're just on a pretty long flat line, but it's natural that it happens there. Like, you've gotten to the point in Dota, you probably know all the heroes, you probably know, like, most of the spells and what they do and mechanics. And if you're not actively looking for what's going to get you to the next plateau, then you're going to naturally flatline, and that's okay, because that's how it is for literally everybody. That's how it is for everybody.
Yep.
So either your option is to just keep playing for fun, quit the game because it's not fun for you, or look specifically and try to practice and see what's making you plateau and flatline.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, with 6,500 hours, I promise you, there's nobody that's played the game that long that has spent more than 20% of that actively trying to get better at the game.
Yeah, I agree.
So I highly doubt that you've done everything you can to be better than 3,000 MMR. And that's not trying to slight you. I'm just stating a fact. I haven't done it. Jenkins hasn't done it. Miracle probably has even played a few thousand games of just kind of fucking around, you know?
Yep, absolutely. I think so.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Alchemy Answers. Sorry I was a little bit late, but, you know, sometimes that happens.
Time zone issues.
We will put this up on YouTube here shortly, and both this one and episode 23 will be available on podcast in the next day or so as well. So thanks for your questions. Thanks as always to our Patreon supporters. You guys make this show possible, and we will see you next week or later this week for replay review. Peace.